everyone. I have been playing around with my Cricut, trying to get inspired, and I came across a package of basswood that I had purchased probably like a year ago. And so I decided, you know, what can I do with basswood? Like, what can you do with the knife blade specifically? So I popped in the knife blade, I got out the basswood, and I ended up creating this adorable little necklace right here. It's so cute, and it was such an easy project. It's one of those projects that you can pretty much make if you have the supplies. You don't really have to spend a lot of money. I did this project using Canva. I used Nectarine font, which is a free font for everybody. So you can use the Nectarine font if you like this style right here. And then I just kind of tweaked it a little. I will show you shortly. I just embellished it by adding a little flower here. And then I just upcycled an old necklace that I had and put a couple of little circle doodads right here to hold it in place. And that's it. The longest part of this whole entire project, besides the design, was the cutting. If you haven't worked with the knife blade before, you may be shocked the first couple of times you use it because it can take a significant amount of time. I'm working on a project right now. I have it paused so we don't have a distraction with a lot of noise. But this project was slated for 10 hours. I'm only at the third pass and we still have 7 hours and 10 minutes left. So just a word of warning, if you are going to be working with your Cricut knife blade, it certainly can take a long time, but you just let it go and check on it periodically and you can end up with something adorable like this. I'm also working today, I'm working on another project, and I'll do a video if y'all want me to, making, you know, we have the little February's coming up, and so I'm just making these little BFF necklaces. I plan on doing a video for that, but let me know if you want me to. That way I can kind of prioritize it. So let's dive into the video and show you how easy it is to make this adorable necklace right here using Canva and your Cricut knife blade.
So we'll start here on canva.com and we're going to click create project and do a custom size. I like to do 2000 by 2000 pixels. It works for me. Click the letter T and it's going to bring up a text box. After you add your text box, we're going to change the font. The font that I love using is Nectarine. It has that really cool retro look and it's also easy to customize to make sure all of those letters fit well together, and it also cuts out really well with your Cricut, no matter what the medium you're using is. So when you start adding your letters, you are actually going to add individual text boxes for each letter. And that just gives us more control, so then we can make sure it's touching in all the right spots. Because this is going to be cutting out as one piece, you do want to make sure that you have overlap. Once you have the letters situated the way you want, the next step is going to be to add your circles for your jump rings. So in this case, you can see I added one. I turned it green just to make it a little bit easier to see, but you can leave it white. You do want to put it in a thick piece of the letters. So the I right there, you'll notice that is too small, and there's a remedy for that. I'm actually adding a flower to this. You also want to make sure you're using your alignment tools so that both of those circles are perfectly aligned. Now I added this free flower. Again, it is a free element that you can use, and I'm changing all the colors to black just to make sure that it is all uniform. And then I'm going to move it to the back of my project, and then I'm going to end up attaching everything together. Now, of course, you do not have to use a flower if that is not something that you are into. You can play around with different elements and see how it works. Just make sure that everything is touching and that you have everything grouped together when you're done with your design. The last step is going to be to download your project. I recommend as a PNG. If you have free Canva and you don't want to pay for anything, you will not select transparent background. Instead, you'll just download it as a PNG. You can actually remove the background in Cricut Design Space. Now, before we get into Cricut Design Space, here are the basswood sheets that I'm using. They're 1/16 of an inch, and then you will need a strong grip mat. Do not skimp on this. I have used a standard mat and I got it to work, but I really recommend using a strong mat. Then you also want to make sure you change out your blade. So we are using the knife blade, and then you're going to take the little star wheels and make sure they're all the way over to the right. So now when you open Cricut Design Space, you're going to create a new project and then you're going to upload that image that you downloaded, that PNG file. If you didn't have the ability to make it a transparent background, you can do that right here. At the bottom left, it says manual and it says select. Just click on that background, it'll remove it, and then click in every little spot that you want to be transparent. Then click apply and continue. We're going to click single layer and then add this to our project. Now, you're going to play with sizing here. I will say 1.5 inches was perfect for this 4-letter design. It was almost a little too big, but it did cut out pretty well on the machine. When you're ready, you're going to click make, and if you haven't done so already, it'll ask you if you want to save the project. And here's a big tip for you. Do not leave your project all the way against the left-hand side. For basswood anyway, you do need to make sure that it is no wider than 11 inches, but I have found that if you have the design all the way against the left-hand side, it will also run into issues. So adjust that just a little bit. Now, because these are 1/16-inch basswood, I just did a search and I actually already have this saved to my favorite material. So you just click the material and it's going to give you a reminder, hey, don't forget to move your star wheels, don't forget to change out your blade. Once you do that, you're ready to start the design. You'll see that the cutting time can vary. I will tell you that 14 minutes is incorrect. This project probably took a little over an hour. It does take quite some time to cut. Now, before you place it in your machine, really important, you're going to place it on that strong grip mat, and then you do need to add masking tape. So this is another recommendation to all 4 sides. Use your brayer as well, just to make sure that it really gets a strong grip on there. If you don't, what I have found through a lot of testing is that it will begin to come up off of the mat, and then you'll end up getting some wonky cuts. So make sure you put your tape down and get it very secure before you start the cut. And then once you place it into your machine, you're just gonna let it go. Do not walk away very far. You do want to make sure you stick around. For my bigger projects that I've been working on, it absolutely prompts me pretty regularly to come back and check. My machine's also pretty old, so just make sure you stick around to see if anything goes wrong with your project. Then once it is done, you're gonna take the project out of your machine and you're going to remove it from the mat. I find a spatula super helpful with this, just to make sure that it comes off pretty smoothly here. And you also want to remove that tape. The tape is also a little bit of a pain to take off, but if you do it now, then it makes things a lot easier later on. Now, one little extra step that I do is I do use a little tool to make sure that it's filed down in certain places. Because this is basswood, it's pretty cheap. You know, it's like a pressed wood. So using the file can help make it look a little bit more put together, as opposed to just kind of a cheap cutout. Now, the last part is going to be to decorate. And as we know, this is where you can get super creative, do whatever you want. You can add glitter, you can add sparkles, you can add fabric, Mod Podge it. You can even add vinyl if you want to add vinyl. There's so many different ways that you can decorate this. I went with just acrylic paint with a little bit of sparkle and then added a little bit of glitter to it. But again, get as creative as possible. And when you do, show me what you create. I would love to see it. I'm sure everyone would as well. When I was doing a search online, there weren't very many examples out there. So I'm always looking for projects to inspire me. So I recommend absolutely, if you create this project, please share so that we can all be inspired. And then the last thing is to add your jump rings. So we made those holes perfectly aligned, so we can just add a couple of jump rings here to the project. And I'm using an upcycled necklace. You can even use string or strands of leather, whatever you want to have as the actual necklace portion of your project. And when you're all done, you should have something that looks like this. It is adorable. People will ask you about it. It is such a great, easy project to do. And again, customizable. So if you like content like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below if you plan on doing this project. And until next time, everybody, see ya!